What is the difference between a fiddle and a violin?
Fiddle has strings. No, I did that backwards.
Oh my
A
gosh.
violin has strings, and a fiddle has strings.
Strings. Oh my gosh. Okay. You are listening to the Go Earn Your Salt podcast, brought to you by Salty Electrolytes. On this podcast, your host, Riley Rogers, explores the stories of people who get after it, get things done, and earn their salt. You will hear from high achievers who discuss what makes them tick, how they got to where they are today, and where they're headed tomorrow. Perhaps this podcast will help you go earn your salt. Today is a special episode. I've got my very favorite daughter, Libby Rogers, on here, and she has, just since she was a little girl, been our little entrepreneur in our family. And so I invited Libby on here. She's had some really cool business ventures and some things going on in her world that are just something I thought our audience would like to hear. It's going to be it's a bit of a milestone for the podcast. It's going to be episode number 50 here. I can't believe it's already we're less than a year into this thing and we're already 50 episodes in, and Libby gave me the honor of joining us for the 50th episode. So welcome to the show, my dear.
Thanks. It's fun to be here.
This is super cool. So we'll talk about you. Tell everyone about growing up being a Rogers kid.
I'm 22. I'm from Boise. Lived here my whole life. I started playing the fiddle when I was 9. And that's basically all I do now. Everything in my life somehow revolves around fiddle. So.
Do you what got you into fiddle?
I had a little neighbor friend that played, and I always thought it looked really fun. So I had her start teaching me. I think she was 7 at the time, so wasn't anything official, but we would just play around. And eventually her aunt started teaching me, and then I started taking actual lessons from her, and then have taken from a couple different teachers. Just never stopped playing.
Nice. And we'll talk about the fiddling more as we go on, because that, again, like you said, has been a huge part of your life, right? But as you grew up, we kind of raised you in I would say entrepreneurial family, right? I've been self-employed my whole adult life, and so you kind of were born into that a little bit. But you started to get a business interest pretty early on in your world, right? So can you talk about that? Kind of where that started, kind of where you got bit by the bug?
Yeah, Libby and Dad's fishing worms. We would go outside at night. It felt like it was the middle of the night to me, but it was just as soon as it got dark. We would go catch worms in our front yard, and I sold them to people. It was supposed to be for fishing, but the only people that bought them, it was for their compost. And I only made $30 off of that. I was, probably 6?
Oh, gosh, if that, yeah.
Yeah, so I was little, and I decided $30 wasn't enough. So I stopped that business. I would set up a little table just in the front of our house on the sidewalk when kids were walking home from school. And I would make jewelry, bracelets and necklaces and brownies and sell them. I made a lot more money doing that. And
I
then,
forgot about that. You did well with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember, I think my biggest day I made $13.
But when you're 6 years old, that's a big deal.
Yeah, a lot more than I made off of worms.
Yeah.
Eventually that turned into, I sold Rice Krispie treats for a long time. I would go door to door to different offices and businesses and just sell Rice Krispie treats to whoever would buy them. And yeah, I ended up doing that till I was probably 15. Yeah, did that for a long time. And I saved up all the money from Rice Krispie treats to buy my first car and to buy my first fiddle. But my first car was named Crispy because selling all the Rice Krispie treats. So
I loved that. I thought that was so cool. Yeah. So growing up in this house, so one of the things that we did as parents, right, is we didn't often buy you kids things. If you wanted a big toy purchase or something you really wanted, we taught you how to earn it, but we didn't buy it for you. You know, sometimes we had plans for that where we'd buy half, and if you could put up the money for half. But as a little kid, what was that like for you to? Was that encouraging or discouraging?
It just felt normal. It was weird to me when other people's parents would just buy them stuff. We always had to work and save up. But I'm glad that's how it was. Because I think now seeing so many kids that just don't know how to work or aren't willing to put in work to get what they want, it's kind of crazy because that's just what I was always used to. Like, if I want something, I have to work for it. And I think now it's made me feel like I can almost do anything because if I work hard enough, I can do whatever I want. And if, like, it could be just saving up enough money for something, or it could be like the fiddle contest. Like, if I want it bad enough, I can do it. So.
Yeah, and that's something we're going to talk about also is your fiddle contest. But talk about the bicycles, right? Because that was a big part of your world,
I
too.
forgot about that one. Yeah, my brother and I, we would buy bikes off of Craigslist and fix them up and resell them for a lot more than we paid for them. We did that for a long time, too. I forgot about that. But
Oh, so many bicycles. I remember this, like, maybe I remember it different than you, because for you it was like, hey Dad, I think I found a bike. Like, it took some time, right? Because part of that little venture was learning what bicycles were worth buying and fixing
Right.
up and reselling, right? Because
Yeah.
a cheap department store bicycle, you might buy it for $10, but you can sell it for 12, even if you had to put $50 into fixing it up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you remember about that? You know, the experience there.
Oh, I remember having a list in my head of what brands to look for. Yeah, and then I know like Trek and Specialized. Those are the only two I can think of. But I know those two I always watched for. Yeah, I don't remember a ton of that. I just would always get on Craigslist and look, and then have you take us to go pick them up.
Yeah, I remember driving a lot and having to go get
A lot.
a lot. Some of these bikes are like, "Hey, Dad, can we go to Emmett to find one?" And I'm like, "No, that's an hour away or 45 minutes, one way."
Yeah.
I did get a kick out of it. It was a lot of fun because I knew it would challenge you kids, right? But
Right.
I remember some of those bikes required you to invest in, right? It wasn't, some of them, it was like we brought them home, lubricated the chain and washed them, and you could resell them.
Yeah, and that was it.
3 times as much. But some of them, it was tires or cables or that sort of a thing. And I think we probably still have pictures of you guys out there with your little changing tires and
Oh, I'm sure.
learning how to do that.
Yeah.
Do you when you look back on those times, is that fond memories for you?
Yeah, it is. It's always fun to think about. I forgot about the bike one, but yeah, all that kind of stuff is fun to think about.
Do you remember having discussions with Danny about partnerships and when you guys would go on a bike together?
A little bit. Yeah. Just we would split, like we would each pay for half of it, and then I don't remember exactly how we did it. I think we probably just split whatever we had to put into it. Like if we had to buy new tires or tubes or something, we just both pay for half and then split the money after we sold it. That's probably what we did.
Yeah, I think those were funny discussions as from a parent standpoint, right? Listen to you guys argue about how you were going to split it, who, because sometimes it seems like I remember one of them where you had a few more bucks than Danny had, and so you paid for more of the parts that you had to buy for a certain bicycle, but he wanted half, and you're going, no, I just put 75% of the money, and so I get 75% of the profit.
That's
Do you
funny.
remember that?
Yeah, nope, I don't remember that, but I'm sure it happened. It sounds like something we would have done.
Yeah. Do you remember learning any lessons about partnerships in that, though?
Not really. I just always remember you saying it's stupid to have a business partner.
Yeah, that's
the only
a
thing
thing
I
I have a
remember.
belief on, right? I kind of stand on that pretty heavy because I know a lot of crazy crap happens when there's partners, when they have a falling out and all those kind of things happen. And yeah.
Yeah. I never really thought of it as like he was a business partner. It's just something we always did together, and so I never really thought anything of it.
Well, I don't know. Again, you guys were pretty young when this was going on, so maybe your memories of it aren't quite as good as mine. But
Yeah.
one of the conversations I remember you and him having was because you went in together on one bicycle. At one point, Danny had it in his head that he was partners on all the bicycles now.
Oh.
And so that was part of the argument. And again, do you remember that?
Nope, not at all.
Oh, it was so funny because it was, well, we're doing this together. And then you guys had to have that discussion of, no, we're partners on this bike. But this other one that I bought over here, you don't get a part of that one.
That's so funny.
Oh my gosh. Do you, so fun story, but Libby's going to tell it. The triathlon. Talk about that.
Oh. Um, Man, I barely remember that either. I mean, as a kid, we did a lot of races, like the famous potato marathons, 5Ks, all that kind of stuff. And I don't remember where I came up with the triathlon. I don't know if you did a triathlon right around then. Was
That was before
it
I
seemed
actually
like it
did
was
a
after?
triathlon, but
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I thought. So I don't know where I came up with that. But the neighborhood we lived in, there was a pool there, and so I decided to put together a little kids triathlon. So I got together with all the neighbor kids, and we made little paper medals and I don't know, ribbons or something. And I think I probably made flyers or like little cards or something and passed them out to all the kids at church. And a bunch of kids showed up whatever day I picked for the triathlon, and I don't remember what I did, but I just remember kids running down that little green belt path by the pool,
Do you
riding their
remember how old you
bikes.
were then?
Probably 11 or 12.
It's pretty young, yeah.
Yeah.
It almost
And
seems like it was before that to me. I don't know why, but it almost
I
seems.
don't I don't know, cuz we moved to that house when it was right before I turned 9. Then we moved out when I was 13. So it was somewhere between there. But probably if I don't know, probably closer to 11 or 12. Like closer to the end of that. So,
Yeah, and that was your first kind of experience with organizing something, right? So this was.
you know
And I
what I
can't remember.
actually
Did you
just
charge
remembered?
entry fees for that?
No, I don't think so. Actually, I probably did.
I was going to say, I
Knowing
think you
myself,
did.
I probably did. I don't remember. Um, you know what I just remembered? Probably the first thing I actually organized was the business meeting.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I barely remember
Yeah.
that one.
I barely remember it either. I don't even know how old I was. We lived in Cuna, so it's like 7 probably,
Yeah, or
maybe
very young.
8.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
What do you remember?
Yeah, so it was like right around when I was first trying to figure out how to start a business. I don't know if I was doing the worms at that point or if this was probably after the worms, probably when I was doing the jewelry and stuff on the sidewalk. I decided to put together a little class or course to teach my friends how to start their own business. So I remember I made these little notebooks and I had all these, I still have one somewhere, I should look at it, but I think I put the different topics that they needed to learn about. Like, I don't even remember what was in there. Um, but yeah, I had this whole list of everything I was going to teach all the kids who came to my business meeting. So then I also got the kids from church to come to that. So it was only a couple of them that came, but we sat down and I taught them how to start a business.
Do you remember if any of them actually did it?
I have no idea. I doubt it.
So, as time has gone on, right, your businesses, and some of those we'll put them in quotation marks, right, your businesses, but some of them have really become fruitful to you. And you mentioned the Rice Krispie treats, right? You would go door to door, you would sell these things. And I remember even as a little girl, you had it very organized, right? And you even knew who your ideal customer was. You knew kind of how to put routes together, and you had different days of the week. You'd go to different parts of town and deliver these treats, right? You had order forms. Talk about organizing that and what was going through your child head.
I just, with the order forms, at one point, I thought, well, it's kind of dumb to just go to door, just hoping people will be there that want to buy stuff. So I made a Google Forms thing and would email all my customers. Anyone who would give me their email address, I would add it to the list. And so every week I'd send out this form, have a time set up at the end of the week. I'd go deliver all the Rice Krispies. Yeah, then I just wanted a way to know, like, prepare ahead of time, I guess, and know where I was going, and how many treats to make and all of that. So that's all I remember thinking was I just thought, oh, I could make more money this way if I have people pre-order. And I did. I made so much more money after I started doing that. But I sold so many Rice Krispies.
It was like our kitchen was constantly full of Rice Krispie making supplies, right? Our pantry was full of marshmallows and rice cereal. And
do you remember that black cabinet Grandpa gave me? I had that full of marshmallows and cereal and all the different ingredients for the different flavors I did and all that stuff.
Remember the butter that was labeled Libby's, don't touch.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It was always fascinating to me because I remember when you were really little, there was a time, it was before the worms or during that time, probably 6 years old. We were still living out in Cuna, and you were playing with Excel spreadsheets. Do you remember this?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And, we always label things all fancy in the business world where we'll have, our kind of gross profit and our expenses and then our net profit. And you had this little spreadsheet and you had all these questions about how to make it do math for you. But your columns, I still remember the columns you put in there as a 6 or 7 year old. That was made, spent, and kept. And it's still, I tell the story all the time because it was so perfect. It was like, that's what we mean when we say gross revenue or we say, capital expenses or all these bullcrap terms that we use, these real fancy versions of give, spent, kept.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because you still do that kind of stuff, right? It's just a big girl version of what you were doing then. Mm-hmm. You've become much more organized in your time, but as you look back on the Rice Krispie treats and the lessons you learned there, okay, how does that carry over to adulthood now?
Well, with the Rice Krispie treats, going door to door all the time, that with the fiddle contest now, I've had to do that a lot. So that, I think, prepared me and kind of taught me what to do when I go in and how to talk to people and how to do sales. Still not my favorite thing to do, but I still have to do it. So, but I think that helped. Even making the order form, I've had to make so many forms like that. I mean, that's really easy to do, but figured it out a long time ago. Spreadsheets I use all the time now too, so.
Talk about the door-to-door thing, because I think, business owners of all levels at some point in their growth as a business owner had to do that type of just guerrilla. We call it guerrilla marketing in the world. There's a book called Guerrilla Marketing that kind of got that term out there, but that just going and getting it. Dave Ramsey calls it kill something and drag it home, right? Mm-hmm. We started having you do that kind of stuff as a little girl. I remember your brother would go with you as your bodyguard. Remember that?
Yep. That was funny.
We didn't want our 9-year-old going in businesses all by herself, so we sent a 7-year-old with her to our 6-year-old.
Yep.
Oh, just talk about what learning that door to door has meant to you, like to strengthen you as a business owner, doing the hard things.
It pushes me out of my comfort zone a lot. Like I have to go in and ask people for money, and I hate doing that. So, um, but I have to. I mean, I have to really understand what I'm doing, like what my business is about, so that I can explain to whoever I'm talking to, going to door, like, why they should support me and why it's important, why it matters. Which can be kind of hard to do with a fiddle contest because nobody knows what that is. So, yeah.
That's I always think about how often you get the question, "What's the difference between a fiddle and a violin?"
Oh, all the time.
What is the difference between a fiddle and a violin?
Fiddle has strings. No, I did that backwards.
Oh my
A
gosh,
violin has strings, and a fiddle has strings.
strings. Oh my gosh. Okay, so door to door, you're as a kid, right? You had this. We used to call it selling cute, right?
Mm-hmm.
You remember that?
Yep. Yeah, because the day I turned 14, people stopped buying Rice Krispies for me.
all of a sudden all of a sudden it was like, yeah, you transition more into this. You weren't just this cute little girl doing it anymore. Now you're more grown up, and
Yep.
they would look at you different,
Mm-hmm.
So talk about what that did to you, or what not did to you, like a victim or something, but what mindset change had to change in you once that stopped.
Um, I just realized maybe this isn't the best way to promote this specific business anymore. Um, yeah, so I tried to come up with other ways to keep doing Rice Krispie treats for a while. Like I remember going door to door again to different coffee shops or like little restaurants to see if I could make Rice Krispie treats for them to kind of wholesale from me and sell at their coffee shop. That never turned into anything. I think I was a little. I didn't want to make it too complicated and have to figure out the whole commercial kitchen thing. And when I'm 15, um,
Yeah.
so that never turned into anything. But it made me start thinking about other ways that I could make money with the same product, I guess. Um, yeah.
Do you remember, so when you talk about the commercial kitchen, right? Because that was an obstacle. That was something that was like, you did have to weigh whether or not the juice was worth the squeeze, as they say, right? Is it worth having to rent a place, or try to
Mm-hmm.
figure this out in order to stay within, like, what's not FDA but health department guidelines and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, right? So you ultimately decided that wasn't worth it, right? So
Yep.
then where did things take you from there?
Um, After that, I started nannying a lot, or kind of in the middle of that. So I did that all of high school and then a little bit afterwards. Just
Yeah.
babysat as much as I could every single day and every single night, babysitting. Some crazy kids sometimes too, but
Well, okay. So through that you learned some lessons too, though, right?
yes.
So talk about that, because one of those things was ideal clients. I think that was probably
Mhm.
a time you probably got some of that during the Rice Krispies time frame, right? During that, but as you moved on and you became a nanny, there were, I just can think of some families that you watched their kids that didn't last too long for
Mm-mm.
various reasons. So talk about that kind of process of deciding who was a right fit.
Um, yeah, I think I just figured out. Well, at first I just said yes to anyone who ever would ask me. And then after doing that for a while, I realized I'm sick of watching bratty kids that won't listen to me and scream all the time. So I kind of started be more selective about who I would say yes to. Um, I remember being really frustrated with some of the kids sometimes, but other than that, I don't really remember doing much. Then I would just be a little more picky about who I would say yes to. But
If you if you had to write down, because I know like in our mobile oil change company, right? I have actually 4 written qualifications that a customer has to meet in order for me to keep that person as a customer, you know. And I'll give you an example. I don't even know if you knew this was a thing, but they have to pay their bill on time. They can't extend us out, right? They have 10 days to pay a bill. If they go over that more than a couple times, we fire them as a client.
I'm surprised I'm still your customer.
They have to show up on time, right? They have to show up because we're mobile, so we take a truck out to wherever they tell us that their truck's going to be, and so they have to be where they say they're going to be when they're going to be there. And then if they're ever jerks to, you know, just if they ever scream at one of my employees, you know, scream and yell and get up in their face about something, I'll fire them pretty instantly for that. It's like, if there's a problem, call us and tell us there's a problem, we'll come fix it, but you don't get to yell at people. I'm trying to think what the other one is going by our recommendations. So if we have a product that we're installing in that vehicle that is designed to last a certain amount of miles, and that customer decides they want to go farther than that, we won't service them because of warranties and things like that, right? We don't want to be responsible for their stuff breaking, so or have our name associated with it. So we have these written rules about if a person can't abide by this, they can't be our customer. Did you have those or anything like that you kind of had as things you looked for in a nanny customer?
Not written out, but I just knew if I went and watched our kid and hated it, then I didn't want to go back. That was about all I had.
Yeah. Well, you've had some experience with that, right? So in that situation, it was bratty kids, or sometimes it was. I remember one family, it was more the parents who didn't really. The kids were fine, but the parents were kind of hard to deal with.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
You don't remember that one?
No.
Parents were just very what's the word, permissive with their children, and so if
yeah, like, I guess there were a couple of those. Yeah, that was rough.
Permissive is the friendly way to say it.
Yeah.
So current day, you started 4 years ago, probably teaching fiddle. Does that sound about right?
I think 6 years ago now.
It's been 6.
It was in 2020.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Okay, so talk about what that is, what it looks like, and what challenges you faced with just the logistics of teaching fiddle. We designed salt electrolytes with a very important concept in mind, something we call counterparts. Minerals have very specific functions in your body, but those functions are one-sided. For example, sodium allows water into your cells, where it stays until potassium comes along and lets it out. You know this as the sodium-potassium pump. Calcium and magnesium work in a similar way, so we put both in our drink. In our research, we came across data that showed us that nearly 98% of athletes are deficient on iodine. This fact prompted us to use iodine in our formula, but it turns out you cannot absorb iodine properly without zinc present. So what did we do? You guessed it, we added zinc. Every ingredient in our formula is paired with its counterpart. Authentic Salt Electrolytes is the only electrolyte drink that prioritizes counterparts. Get some for yourself today at saltelectrolytes.com and feel what proper counterparts can do for you. Go earn your salt.
Yeah.
A lot of moving parts.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. I love it. It's so fun, and I love my students. I feel like I still haven't figured it out yet, though. It's been 6 years. There's still so much stuff I'm trying to figure out how to do. I mean, teaching is so different than just playing. And, like, being a good fiddler is so different than being a good teacher. So, I've been trying to just learn how to actually be a good teacher. And then you have all the business side of it, too. Like, keeping track of, have my students all paid me for the month? Or managing my schedule, and every once in a while someone will show up on a day they're not supposed to, or I'll have to deal with kids that won't listen, or kind of the same thing as babysitting and nannying. You're also dealing with people's kids and sometimes dealing with crazy parents. I've had a couple of those.
Yeah, most are great, right? But
Most of them are great.
so
Yeah.
we'll talk about that. So when things do go wrong, right? Because every business, every organization experiences that. They go through this time of having someone who just is not a fit,
Hmm.
and they want to pay you money, but at the same time, they're not a fit. And what do you have to say about that?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it depends on the situation. One of them, I had one a few years ago that I was about ready to tell them I just wasn't a good fit for them. Like, they should find a different teacher. Um, it was more of just a personality thing. Like, I just didn't really. This student was great, but it was one of the parents was kind of crazy and was hard for me to deal with. So um, I was just about to tell them that, like, you should go find a different teacher. This is not a good fit. And then they quit. So that kind of took care of itself. Um,
So what kind of things were going on there? What were the parents doing that was
oh,
rubbing you the wrong way?
um, just lots of drama about everything. Like, all of a sudden, the schedule that we picked didn't work for them anymore. Multiple weeks in a row, she would come in, just so much drama about, we have to change the time. Like, this doesn't work, and kind of panicking, and that I'm not okay with that. Like, I'm fine. My schedule can be flexible if I like you, my schedule can be flexible.
Oh man.
And and if you're easy to work with, or if you're like reasonable, not coming in like screaming that this conflicts with something else in your schedule that you knew about before you picked the time. I mean,
Does
that was,
when you say like panic and drama and screaming, describe this, because again, business owners deal with this kind of thing, right? It's where
yeah.
you get a customer who, again, they want to pay you money, but at the same time, and they want
It's,
whatever slot in the schedule they want,
mm-hmm.
regardless of what your schedule has in, what gaps you have in your schedule.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it was just kind of demanding. Like, we can't do this, so you have to give us a different time. And that's not in my lesson policies that you can get whatever time you want. It's, I only have so much time available. And when I have another job too, like, that limits it. Um, yeah, so you can't be demanding, or like, I can work with people if they just come to me and are like, hey, this time's not going to work anymore, or whatever, or this thing's not working, like, can we figure something else out? That I'm fine with. But when it's demanding and drama and panic, like, we can't come anymore, like, you have to get us a different time, I don't deal with that very well.
So talking to you, it's funny because I have a lot of insight into your world because I'm your dad, right? But
You hear my rants after every bad
yeah, but
lesson.
it's not so much. It's watching you learn to create boundaries, right? One
Mm-hmm.
of the things that people experience, business owners especially, is that blocking out of certain times, right? So you mentioned you have a separate job, okay, which I kind of want to talk about too. That's a cool story, but the point is you have this time frame that you have to block out because you have this other job. That's easy. That's an easy decision, right? It's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm at work. But sometimes, and in some parts of your schedule, you don't do lessons on certain full days because you need a break once in a while. You need a day off, right? But it's easy for a customer to come to you and go, "Hey, I can we schedule on this date?" And you go, "Well, I'm really not doing anything," and you almost feel guilty
Mm-hmm.
about not scheduling during that day you've got blocked out. But
Yeah.
talk about that. How is it? How important is it to keep that date blocked as if it's an actual appointment?
Yeah, that's so hard for me because part of me, I don't want to lose students, and so I don't want to, if they really can't come any of my other times, then part of me wants to open up another spot. But I mean, I have to have time to even just do like laundry and normal life things that I can't always do. And just with fiddle too, like a lot of weekends I have stuff going on, and so I don't get weekends off a lot. So I kind of have to have certain spots in my weekdays to just get normal things done. And then also running a contest, like I have to have days to plan that and go get sponsors and do everything that comes with that. Um, so far it hasn't been too big of a deal. I kind of have, I mean, I know that I like to have, I don't like teaching more than maybe 2 hours without at least a 20 or 30-minute break between lessons. So I try to keep those, like them separated a little bit. And I know that I don't like to have huge gaps in my day. Right now, I have, it's changing for the summer, but for a while I've had on Thursdays one lesson in the morning, like mid-morning, and then nothing else till afternoon. So that is kind of awkward. And so, like, I don't have very much time to actually go get anything done either of those times, like before or after the lesson. So I think I need to be more strategic about how I set that up, and not offer those random times because I'm not doing anything and I'm free. So I might as well take a student right there. Like, so, yeah. I don't know if that even answered what you were asking. But.
No, it does. It does, because I do think, I know that once a month I'll schedule what I call a clarity break day, right? And it's a day where I like to go out. I'll sit in the coffee shop, or I'll sit up in the back of my truck in the lawn chair, and I'll take notes, and I'll just sit and brainstorm, just kind of brain dump. I get ideas out of my head, and sometimes when I get them out of my head onto paper, it clears out my mind, right? And I can be more creative in the meantime. But it's one of those times. It's on a Friday generally. It's the first Friday of each month, and I do struggle with blocking that time out and saying nothing else gets to go there. You know, because somebody may call and say, "Hey, I need to meet you for this," or I want to sit down and talk to you about this other thing, and I want to do a phone call, I want to do a podcast, or whatever it happens to be, and I'm like, oh, I need to block those days, and I need to protect them as if I'm legitimately not available, and then make myself legitimately not available, right? And it's okay. It's something, again, it's okay to do, but we feel almost silly or almost guilty about it.
Yeah, I think it's hard having such a flexible job, because it is hard to set those boundaries. And I just always think like, oh, there's this one thing that maybe I don't have to actually go anywhere. Like, I just have work to do on my computer, so I can do whatever during the day. Like, I can meet with people, or I can teach, or do whatever, and then I'll just do whatever on the computer in the evening. But then I am up till midnight working instead of just getting it done during the day. And yeah, so it's hard to like set those times and not get distracted, especially when you're just working for yourself and no one's holding you accountable. You just
What kind of things do you do to keep from getting distracted?
I have not figured that out yet. Sometimes I'll go sit at a coffee shop and work on my computer. That helps, because then I don't have anything else around me that I can do. Like, I can't get distracted like cleaning something or playing instruments, or I just kind of have to be stuck right there and get my stuff done. But
yeah, multitasking, do you find that is a thing that you can legitimately do, or is it just screw up everything?
It depends on who you ask. Because if I ask you, well, I would say I can multitask, but then you always complain about how my eggs are always burnt, so.
Okay. That's my proof that you can't multitask, because you're in there trying to do something in your room while your eggs are on the
I have eggs cooking, and then I decide, I'm going to go get dressed or brush my hair or something. And
take a shower.
No, I don't do that. I mean, I take showers, but not while I'm cooking.
Oh my gosh. So here, a couple of years ago, you get this bright idea to put on a fiddle contest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talk about what it is. What is a fiddle contest? Because you said nobody knows what that is, what the fiddle world looks like, but there's a big following there, and there's this whole fiddle underground that most people don't know about. So first of all, talk about that. What your contest is and what the fiddle world is.
Okay. That's hard. So a fiddle contest, I feel like you have to actually go to one to really experience what they are or really understand what they are. And not just go to one, but like actually be involved in one. People go to fiddle contests. There's fiddlers all over the country, all over the world, but people travel to contests all the time. I think, and I might get some of the background or history wrong, but I think they mostly started off in Texas. I don't know when, but started off in Texas. And so there's we call it Texas style fiddling. That's what you play at contests. And it's a lot of hoedowns and reels, hornpipes, that kind of stuff that nobody knows unless you play it. But so yeah, I think they started in Texas. So it's Texas style fiddling. And a big part of it is a lot of the music is just learned by ear. A lot of fiddlers don't read sheet music, or maybe they can, but at least for this music, we don't really have it. And so, yeah, you learn all these tunes. Also, if you go to a fiddle contest, they're called fiddle tunes usually, not songs, because songs have words and tunes don't. So don't accidentally call it a song when it's not a song. It's a tune.
And do not call a fiddle a violin.
Do not call it a violin. Nope. So you learn all these tunes, go to a contest. Everybody plays in the first round. Most contests, there's more than one round. Everyone's split into different age groups. And then there's always a category called either open or champion or something like that, where anyone can enter. It's not based on age. It's just if you think you're good enough to go compete with the best fiddlers there, then you enter that division. You go up on stage, you play 3 songs, sometimes less. Sometimes you only play 1 or 2. Usually it's 3 songs, tunes. And then there's a few judges that listen and then write down a score for you. I mean, some contests do it different. You don't get scores all the time, but you get judged, and then you wait to see if you get to play again or if you got cut from the next round. Then there's awards at the end. It doesn't sound like it's that big of a deal, but when you go to one, it's amazing. It's so fun. And were you gonna say something?
Well, you talk about you play 3 songs, right? But there's a lot going on because it's 3 songs in a specific order of song type, right? It's
right.
Generally, the first one, if I remember right, is a hoedown, and then you do a waltz, and then you have a choice tune, which is you can kind of pick from a variety of different Texas-style tunes.
Yeah, they say a choice tune's anything but a hoedown or waltz, but really there's also kind of a set list of choice tunes.
Yeah.
But so it doesn't really mean you can play anything, but
and in some contests, there's time limits, right?
Yeah. So you have to fit all 3 of those, usually into 4 minutes. Sometimes you have 5 or 6, but usually 4 minutes to play 3 songs. And then you also have accompanists. So you get to the contest, you have to find guitar players to play with you, make sure they know your songs. Also, a lot of people just don't have chords written out for any of the songs. So if you're a guitar player, you just have to hope you know the songs, or whoever you're backing up will give you chords, which doesn't always happen. Sometimes too, like when I was backing up a bunch of people a few weeks ago, people would ask me as they were walking on stage to back them up. And so I didn't have any time to practice with them. So a lot of times you just kind of get on stage. You don't even practice with your guitar players. You usually try to, but usually you just get up and wing it.
No, there's a lot of that because you talked about what's behind the scenes, right? And there's this, I hate to call them groupies, but they're groupies that just hang out with in a fiddle contest. They travel all over the nation.
Yeah.
And some of them aren't necessarily there to fiddle. Some of them are there to play guitar. And or they'll play a bass or a cello in the background. They've got other instruments that accompany banjos sometimes, right? And what's the other one? You see the mandolin,
Oh,
and they'll jump in there with all these
yeah,
other little accompanying instruments.
yeah. A lot of times, mandolin and banjo you don't really see at Texas fiddle contests. Those are more like bluegrass or old time. I think is where you
Mm.
see those more. It's kind of. I'm pretty sure I've seen some contests where you're not allowed to have a banjo as an accompanist. Like that's
People are
actually a
all
rule.
anti-banjo.
Yeah, that's a thing. There's banjo jokes. Um, you'll see tenor guitars too sometimes, which I don't even know where those came from. Nobody knows what they are that I know. Like I don't know anyone who knows what they are outside of the fiddle world. But it's just a four-string guitar tuned the same as a cello. But those are really fun. If you get a good tenor guitar player, those are so much fun.
So you started out competing, right, and
Hmm.
working your way kind of through the ranks of the fiddle world, and I've met a lot of people in there who have
Hmm.
become, in business speak, have become your network, right? Um, Talk about that and just what that takes, right, and the relationships you've developed over the years.
Um, yeah, going to contests, you just end up meeting a bunch of people. Um, and there's so many fiddlers and guitar players at these contests that, I mean, in my opinion, are some of the best musicians in the world. And you get to just meet them and hang out with them and camp with them and jam. And so that's really fun because you get to hear some really, really good music. Um, and it's fun too when you get to the point where you can start to jam with them too. And it's the best feeling ever to get in a good jam where all the rhythm is lined up exactly. And it's so much fun. But yeah, you meet all these really cool people. Some of them are crazy, but that's kind of what makes it fun. Because I always come home from contests with crazy stories of either just funny things that happened with my friends or crazy things we saw people do. Um, yeah, so that's always fun. And then everyone's so nice though. Everyone's like a big family. Like we don't really say like, oh, we're just going to do a fiddle contest. Like these are our friends or whatever. People sometimes will call these contests a family reunion because everyone just feels like family and everyone really cares about you. And um, yeah, it's really cool. I love being part of the fiddle world. And
It's cool to me because I think it caught me off guard because I get to go hang out at jiu-jitsu competitions and stuff once in a while, and there's a little bit of that camaraderie there too, right? But when it's kind of time to compete, man, guys are trying to hurt each other, right? It's a whole different level of watching people. I don't know how to do it. Or how to say it, but there's like more maybe trying to intimidate your opponent or trash talking, or there's a bit of standoffishness between opponents. That's not uncommon to see in the jiu-jitsu world, but in the fiddle contest world,
it's so
you guys are
different.
sharing guitarists. You guys are, if somebody breaks a string, you're giving them a string. If somebody broke their bow or something, you'd loan them yours, and
Hmm.
you guys all get
Yeah.
along. It's not like there's any rivalries there. I've just never seen that in that fiddle world.
Yeah, it's really cool because yeah, like there's so many contests, especially when you're in the open division, and most people in that division will play guitar really well and fiddle really well. And so you'll just see like one fiddler plays and then they set their fiddle down and grab their guitar and back up someone who was just playing guitar with them. So
Yeah.
it's sometimes you see the same four people on stage for multiple people's turns because they just all back each other up and like no one's trying to no one's that competitive that they won't back up or support whoever because we're just all friends and like a giant family. Um,
It was
yeah,
interesting
it's
to
really
me when you
cool.
first started competing because I remember one of the one of your competitors, you were asking her to back you up on the guitar, and that freaked me out. I'm sitting there going, how do you know she's not going to just play really terrible to make you sound worse? And, you know, I didn't understand that part of it until years in. I'm going, okay, these guys all they're none of them are that competitive.
Hmm. Yeah, That is cool. I think every once in a while there's, I mean, in any group, there's always somebody that's kind of crazy or isn't always the nicest. So every once in a while you'll run into someone like that. But I haven't. Like the people that I hang out with and know, none of them are like that. They're all amazing.
I've always joked around with your students when they're in competitions, and I tell them, I'll look over some other girl that I know's in their division, and I'll say, hey, are you competing with her? And they'll say, yeah, I think so. And I'll go, okay, you need to take her out back and kick her in the leg. Go full Tanya Harding on her. And nobody knows at that age knows who Tanya Harding it was, but they always look at me all strange, like, what do you mean? All right, you sweaty buggers. That liquid dripping off your forehead and down your back contains minerals that are critical for high performance. If you don't put those minerals back, you're not going to perform well. This is where salty electrolytes comes in. Salt contains 6 electrolyte minerals plus a touch of iodine to help you replenish after a hard workout. Salt is the only electrolyte supplement to pair every mineral with its counterpart, giving you the most robust mineral profile on the market, period. Head over to goearnyoursalt.com today to get some for yourself. Use the code GOEARNYOURSALT to get 15% off your first order. And now, my friends, go earn your salt.
I heard someone else say that recently at a contest. I don't remember who it was or what contest, but I heard someone else say that. It's like, oh, my dad always says that.
Do you know who Tanya Harding is?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh. So you've got this contest and you've been to so many of them over the years. Now we're going back into business conversation, right? But you've seen ones that have run well and some that aren't run very well. Mm-hmm. And I want you to talk about what lessons you've taken from that, right? Because some lessons are like, oh, I'm gonna use that idea. That's a great idea. And some aren't so good. So talk about that. I guess what vision did you have for your own contest?
Yeah. I've always kind of wanted to start a contest, and I just had the chance to last year, or I guess it was the summer before when I started planning, but I decided to just try it, and I've been to so many contests. I go to probably at least one almost every month, and so I've been to a lot, and so I've seen how a lot of them are run. And I've gotten to know a lot of the people that run contests. And so I can kind of hear some of the behind the scenes or even ask them for advice. Or just, see how they do things. So then when I decided to start one, I was able to just take things that I liked from each contest and put them or like use that stuff in mine. And then also find the things that I don't love about some of them and change that about mine. A lot of contests are not very well organized. Some of them are great, but some of them just behind the scenes, they're not that organized. And so sometimes you'll get to a contest and it's supposed to start at 9 a.m. and it doesn't start till 9:30 or 10, or it's supposed to be done at 9 p.m. and you're there till midnight. Mm-hmm. Or people aren't ready to go on stage when it's their turn, so then you have to sit there for 10 minutes and wait, and so then it throws everything else behind. And that's a thing at like every contest just about. So when I started mine, that was one thing that when I was first putting it together and putting the schedule together, I wanted to start right on time, and I wanted to be done right when I said I was going to be done. And I mean, you have to have a little bit of wiggle room, but because you are dealing with people that sometimes aren't always ready when you need them to be, or you have to go find them or whatever. But
you did some things to kind of help with that, right?
Right. Yeah. So a lot of contests, most of them have a time limit. And if you go over that, you lose points. So I have a time limit that's pretty strict, I would think. And then I just did the math to figure out if each contestant is on stage it was different depending on what division, but if they're each on stage they have 4 minutes to play their round, well, I'm going to say they're probably on stage for 5 minutes between walking up there, playing their songs, and then leaving stage. So then I figured out, well, I have this many hours between now and now, like between when it starts and the lunch break. And so I can fit this many contestants there. And so then I just capped it at that. Like, I think this time it was, I could fit 40 contestants or something like that between when we started and lunch. And so then I didn't let any extra people enter after I hit that 40, which I didn't actually have more people. I didn't have to turn anyone away, thankfully. But I knew exactly how many contestants I could fit. And then I enforced the time limits. And I gave, like, the MC, the person who's kind of making sure everything's going along with schedule, I gave them a really detailed schedule of this is what time this division needs to start and this is what time it needs to end, just so that we end for the lunch break or dinner break or the end of the night on time. And as far as I know, a lot of contests don't do that. And to me, that seems like just a really basic, simple thing. Like, I want to respect everybody's time. And I hear people complain all the time at contests about, oh my gosh, this is going so late. I'm exhausted. I just want to go back to the hotel or go jam or whatever. And so I didn't want mine to be that way. And it's not always going to be perfect. Like, even this year, there were some problems the first night, and it got done later than I expected it to. But not that much later, though, because I put a little bit of extra wiggle room in there just in case.
Did you also put someone in charge? Because it seems like there was someone running around rounding up those stray musicians that...
Oh, yeah. I had 2 people all the time that was their job, was to go... It's mostly kids, and so they're kind of off playing, doing whatever. So go find the kid and have them come line up, and have a couple of them lined up at a time, so that as soon as whoever's on stage is done, the next kid can just walk right up there, and then we're not having to wait on anybody. That helped so much too.
Yeah.
Because that's something that happens all the time, is they call the kid's name and then you just have to sit there and wait, or someone has to go find them, and it adds a lot of time.
No, it does. It does. It's funny because there's some, I want to call it misconceptions in the fiddle world, right? Where for years, people around you would discourage you from doing a contest. Mm-hmm. And part of that was because they said, one was you were too nice, right? Talk about that.
Some people have said that running a contest could be really hard because, I mean, it's a lot of work. That was another thing, was it's just so much work that, and it's hard to actually make money doing it and even keep the contest sustainable, because it's just so hard to get money to put towards it, and it costs a lot of money to put on too. So that was one reason, is it's so much work and just really hard to pull off. And then also, you can't always please everybody, and people were worried that I wouldn't be able to handle if someone was upset at something that happened at the contest, and which so far I've never had anyone upset. Even this year, when there was a couple things happened that people could have easily gotten upset about, everyone was super nice. I think too, I don't know, maybe I'm just not far enough into it to have, like, for there to even have been a chance for anything to happen, but there can be, with some people in the fiddle world, just like anywhere else, there's some people that just hate each other. Most of us don't. Most of us love each other, but yeah, there's sometimes you can get just a grumpy person. But I feel like my goal is to just be nice to everybody and friendly to everyone, and not just because one person I know has something bad to say about someone else, I'm not going to hold that against them.
You're not taking someone else's beef.
Right. And I think even just that has helped, because even people that some people have told me shouldn't be part of the contest or shouldn't even compete, I have let them come, and it hasn't been an issue. And like, I'm just friends with all these people, and I think that helps a lot. Like, just being friendly to people, because I think most people, if you're friendly, they're going to be nice back.
Yeah, I think you're right in that. I think that's been cool to watch you kind of have to deal with, because there's that's a that's been a lot of that's happened more than once where someone's come at you and said, it's kind of gets to be this gossip thing, where somebody's going, hey, you shouldn't allow this person in because I don't like
Right.
them, or whatever. And you've really done well at resisting that and just going, no, they're my friend too, just like you are. And I'm sorry you guys have a beef, but
Right.
they're coming. They're
Yeah.
going to be here. So, yeah, and you haven't had to be too harsh about that, but you've had to be kind of insistent that this was something you were going to do. One of the things you mentioned was people have told you for years that you can't make money doing a fiddle contest, right? And I feel like you've bucked that little trend too, or just figured out that that's not true.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I have some ideas of ways to help it make some more money that I haven't sat down and thought it through all the way yet, but I have some ideas I want to start thinking through. It is really hard to make money for a contest though, because most contests are funded just with sponsors. And so that's why I've had to go door to door so much to businesses and just asking people to sponsor the contest. Which that's kind of hard to do when people don't understand what a contest is. I just sound like this hillbilly redneck that says, hey, I'm putting on a fiddle contest. Can you give me $1,000?
Yeah.
They're like, why? That's stupid. But then if you
it?
go to one and actually experience it, then you realize like, oh, this actually is a bigger deal than it sounds. Yeah, so most of the contests are just funded by sponsors. And that, like, the amount of hours it takes to get a sponsor, even $100 sponsor, is crazy. It takes so much time. Yeah, you don't make money if you do it that way.
So you're realizing that some changes have to be made to the business model. But even
Right.
your first year of your contest, you walked away with some profit.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I got plenty of sponsors, and lots of people donated, or even donated raffle items. And so I had a big raffle and made quite a bit off of that, and sold merch like stickers and water bottles and bags and whatever I could think of. And then entry fees for the contestants. But yeah, I'm trying to come up with some more ways to fundraise for it that don't take so much of my time, or maybe they could take as much of my time, but I get a lot more money out of it, because I just always think about eventually when I have my own kids and my own family, I can't spend 20 hours a week going door to door to businesses just to get sponsors. Like my time's going to be more limited, and so I'm going to have to figure out something else. But I want it to be sustainable, and I don't want to have to stop doing the contest because I can't get money for it. So I want to keep it going. So I'm just trying to think of any little thing I can to make it.
So there's you've come up with, so I'm not going to reveal what you've come up with, but there's some pretty creative things you've come up with that I think, again, I'm biased because I'm dad, but I think are going to really change. They're going to change your contest for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised to see other people start to use, some of the stuff you've come up with. So I'm excited to see how that pans out, right? Because on that, you really have come against that idea that you can't make money doing a contest. You can't the way people have done it forever, but there's other ways, and you're really being creative in that. And I kind of wish we could talk more about it, but I'm going to keep that a little close to the vest for now of some of the ideas you have, because I think they're good, but I think they could be stolen if you don't, if we talk about them here. So one of the other things that we've had in-depth conversations about was the whole nonprofit discussion.
Oh, yes.
Right. Because that's a misconception. I feel like it's a complete misconception that in order to run something like this, you have to be a 501c3 nonprofit. Right. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I've had so many people, like, it feels like everyone I talk to tells me that I need to be a nonprofit in order to get sponsorships or donations. That has not been true at all. Like, I've gotten both years somewhere around 20 sponsors, and I'm not a nonprofit. I mean, it's work to get them, but it's not, I mean, it's not hard. It's just you have to put in the effort.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think, yeah, people just don't understand that you really don't have to be a nonprofit. A lot of people have told me, well, businesses won't give you any money, and they won't sponsor if they can't write it off on their taxes. But they can, though, because they don't have to count it as a donation. As far as I know, they can count it as an advertising expense, because part of sponsoring the contest is I advertise like crazy for them.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm not quite sure why people think that way, or think that I'm going to be way more limited because of me not being a nonprofit. But so far, that hasn't been true.
No, I love it because I think it's fun for me to watch again as dad, because I get to see these things that your whole growing up, this was the thing that your mom and I would talk about, right? Was everyone else does things this way. We're going to do things this other way. We're not going to go with the flow of what everyone else is doing. We're going to do it different. And taught you guys that from early on, to, if it makes sense to you and that math's out and that it'll work. You can do it however you want. You don't have to be stuck in this conventional way of doing things, right?
Mm-hmm.
I always laugh because you kids thought it was normal for dad to work from home your whole growing up, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it just goes along with the whole theme of our life as a family. It's like, does dad have to go get a job? No, because dad always thought that having a job meant you had one customer. If that customer ever stopped using your services, that's what's known as being fired, right? Mm-hmm. So your dad just went and made a job, which meant having 200 customers, that the likelihood of all those 200 customers firing him in one day is pretty low. So
right.
It's more job security, where I hear over and over again that, I'd go on into business on my own, but it's too risky. I'm like, you're kidding me? Like, it's way less risky than having a job. And mm-hmm. That's how you guys were raised. Do you, I don't know how often we said it that way to you, but that's the example you lived under.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think too, having a business, kind of what I said earlier about how, I think it was when we were talking about how we would always have to save up and buy whatever we were wanting with our own money. And how it kind of made me feel like I can do whatever I want if I work hard enough. I feel like that's how business is too. You can have whatever kind of business you want. You just have to put in the work. And you can be just as successful as you want to if you're willing to put in the work.
So well said. If you're willing to put in the work, right? You've had to do that so many different ways in your childhood, right? There's all these little things that we kind of think are so cute little kid businesses, but they were learning experiences that really got ingrained in your little child heart, right? And have just grown with you. And so it's cool to see you moving on to this new ventures, because this fiddle contest has been a big deal, and it's in the fiddle world. Like, we're sitting there as we come and help you with it, and volunteers and doing the stuff, but we just get to constantly hear how well run this thing is, but that started back there when you were selling worms and had to make your first little spreadsheet, right?
Yep.
All that stuff that culminated into this thing where now people are noticing that, the girl learned some stuff over the years, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Libby, talk about when you're in this thing and you're a competitor as far as the instrument goes and playing in competitions, but now your business also has competitors, right? And you're trying to set yourself apart from the other contests that are out there. So talk about maybe even as far as a fiddle teacher, there's other music teachers out there, right, that maybe you looked at as competitors. And what do you do to set yourself apart from other ones?
Well, with a contest, I just have tried my best to make it. I mean, I kind of already said, but just take all the things that I like from certain contests and get rid of all the things I don't like. And I want it to be a really fair contest, because I've been to some contests that afterwards there's talk about how it wasn't fair, or the judges were biased, or things like that. So even just being really picky about who I ask to judge. Also, a lot of contests only have 3 judges, and I had 5. And that, as far as I know, and this might be wrong, but I think that used to be more standard. Maybe it's usually just 3, but I feel like I used to hear of 5 judges more often, and they'll throw out the highest score and the lowest score from the judges. And then one judge can't throw the whole contest, because that's something that you hear about happening sometimes. And so just trying to do any little thing I can to make people feel like, oh, this is a good contest and it's going to be judged fairly, and I don't have to worry about anything crazy happening. Yeah, and then just being creative with, even this year, or I guess both years, a lot of contests, they just give out trophies for prizes. And I mean, I've gotten so many trophies from different contests, and you really don't even have to be that good to get a lot of trophies. And so it doesn't really mean that much. And then they just sit on a shelf and you can't do anything with them. So even just being creative with having awards that aren't trophies, that's one thing. That there are some contests. There's a couple I've been to that do really fun creative prizes, and I always loved that about those contests. And so,
give an example of what you mean by creative prizes that are not trophies.
Last year, I did Christmas ornaments. One of my friends hand painted these wood slices, and they turned out really fun. And then I had my aunt and uncle laser engraved my logo and everything on the back of them. So those turned out really fun. This year I did little prize baskets, and everything in the basket was based off the name of a fiddle tune. So I don't know, do you want me to go in detail about it?
Sure.
Okay. There's a song called Red Apple Rag, and so I found fabric with red apples all over it and made these little cloths that you can clean your fiddles with. And so it's literally a red apple rag. There's a really famous or popular fiddle song called the Orange Blossom Special. And so one of my friends makes candles, and so she made me some orange blossom scented candles. Out in Weiser, Idaho, it's just this random little town. It's actually where the National Fiddle Contest is. So there's a candy shop there that the guy there, it sounds like he's a big fan of the contest and really supportive of it, the guy that owns it. So he donated a bunch of little chocolate fiddles wrapped in gold foil, and there's a song called Golden Fiddle Waltz, and so that one those two kind of went together. And it seemed like there was something else. Oh, there's another song called Peaches and Honey, so I did peach tea and honey sticks. So that was all in a little basket for awards this year. So that was really fun and unique and different. I had a table that out in the lobby just selling merch, and there's a song that pretty much everybody plays called Dusty Miller, and that's also kind of plant. So I got Dusty Miller plants and potted them and made them look cute and had those for sale. So it's fun to be creative and just do random little things like that, like little details that people wouldn't pick up on unless they played or were part of the fiddle world.
Yeah, it means something very different to people who are around that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love how you know the culture so well that you're able to do those kind of things where someone from outside of that just wouldn't understand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, listen, at this point in the podcast, I go into these lighter questions, and you've listened to some episodes of this, and so you sort of kind of know what's coming. But these are some get to know Libby questions. Some of them are light and fun. Some of them are maybe a little heavier than others. But it's called the Go Earn Your Salt podcast. When you hear the term "Go Earn Your Salt," what does it mean to you? Business owners, I want to talk to you for a second. Do you have a retail space inside your location? If so, I want you to think about something. Your customers are buying electrolytes. You know that, right? The problem is they're not buying them from you. Well, Salty Electrolytes can help fix that with their wholesale program. They can bring these sales to you in-house so that your customers get the electrolytes they love from the company they love, you. All you have to do is head over to goearnyoursalt.com and scroll to the bottom of the page and click Apply for Wholesale. Do it now before you forget. I know your type, I'm one of you. Once again, that's goearnyoursalt.com. The link is at the bottom of the homepage. There will also be a link in the description on this video. And now, my friends, go earn your salt.
Just go work hard, and I mean, I've already said, but if you want something, you just have to work hard enough for it. That's pretty much all I think of.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you what your favorite pastime is, and I'd love to say other than fiddle.
Yeah,
I don't know if there is another other than
there's
fiddle.
not. I love just jamming with my friends any chance I can get. Going to fiddle contests or staying up all night just playing music. That's my favorite.
When you say staying up all night, you literally mean staying up all night, right?
Yeah, when I go to Weezer and camp, I don't know if I ever went to bed before 2 a.m.
I remember a 4 a.m. there at some point too.
Oh, there was a 6:30 also. A couple times.
I don't know how you guys get up there and even compete
there,
because you don't sleep all night, and then you go try to compete the next day. I don't understand.
And I feel like sometimes you play better when you're sleep deprived. But there's a guy in Weezer that his quote that I always remember is, "We don't go to Weezer to sleep." So
there you go.
It's true.
It's just
why go all the way there just to sleep when you could be jamming?
Party. Oh man, Libby, what's something quirky about you that people don't know?
Oh, we were just talking about this the other day. That people don't know. I really should have thought through this one better. Do you have any ideas?
What are your dating qualifications?
Oh, that's a good one. I won't date a guy who puts creamer in his coffee.
Why?
You're not a real man if you put creamer in your coffee. If I can drink it black, the man should be able to also.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So you're are you that way with soft handshakes too?
Yeah, definitely.
The dead fish.
That's gross.
Oh my gosh. What is your favorite naughty food?
That's a really good question. Depends on the day. Most of them.
Most of the naughty foods?
I mean, chocolate is always good.
Chocolate's top of
Reese's.
my list. Just about top of my list. It's so good. Mm-hmm. You must be related to me. Mm-hmm. Do you have a nickname?
I have a couple.
Yeah?
Libby. That one.
Libby with flitter. So every contest, if Libby, when she gets on stage, in fact, it can be at church, it could be at a contest, but I always scream as loud as I can.
I don't think you've done this at church, have you?
I have done it at church. I say, "Go Flibby" as loud as I can possibly say it. My goal is to embarrass you, but it always just gets that big smile. So.
Yeah.
Scariest moment of your life?
Oh. I feel like I haven't really had that many scary moments, thankfully. That's a really good question.
Do you remember that car accident you and I saw?
That's, yeah, that's the only thing I can really think of. That was horrible. That's
That
probably it.
tell that story a little bit so people can kind of hear that.
Hmm.
What happened?
Yeah, we were driving to Montana for a fiddle contest, and we were on this highway, and wasn't it 2 lanes going each way, and then there was this
Yeah,
big
it was Interstate
median.
15. Yeah.
Hmm. So we're driving, he's driving, and I was sending a text to somebody, so I wasn't watching the road. Well, and I wasn't driving, so it doesn't matter. But I was looking down for just a second, and you're always super calm, and you just panicked, and you didn't scream, but you kind of were. There's a little more drama than I'm used to from you. And you're like, look up, and yeah, I don't remember what you said, but basically like look up. And when I looked up, there was a car flipping. And I'm pretty sure you said by the time I looked up, it had already flipped a couple times. And then I saw it flip a couple more times.
Yeah.
And this car, he landed upside down. It was just this little, like, a Honda Civic, like, little car.
Something like
He
that.
landed,
Yeah, I think it was a
yeah,
Civic.
he landed upside down off in the weeds, like, off the road. But he was coming towards us.
Yeah.
And
He was on
so
the
we
other
pulled
side
over.
of the median.
Yeah, he was on the other side. So we pulled over. You jumped out of the car and ran over to go help him. And I called 911. And we were in the middle of nowhere. Like, we had just passed, where was it? Where were we?
Du Bois had
Yeah. And we had just passed the exit of, probably a couple miles back.
Yeah.
But it was in the middle of nowhere. There was nothing out there. And so I called 911, and a couple other cars stopped and went over there to help him. I waited in the car until I got off the phone. And then I went over, and the guy, I think it was when I got over there, the guy crawled out of the car, and he came out of the passenger door. So, like, I don't know how he got out, and the car was upside down still. He came out, and he looked rough, like really rough. But then an ambulance came super fast, was it I don't remember if it was the police or ambulance that came first, but whichever one came super fast, but the opposite way of the town we had just passed, or the exit. And they told us that 4 miles down the road from where this accident happened, there was another rollover accident that they had just finished up at, and so they came to us right after. And those other people had to get life flighted.
Mm-hmm.
But that was so scary to watch.
Yeah, I remember as we watched that, like, again, you didn't see the very beginning of it, but what turned out was the guy fell asleep doing 80 miles an hour down the freeway, and he went into the median and kind of woke up as he was going off the road.
Yeah, I thought he hit the rumble strips or something, and it woke him up, and then he overcorrected, and then started.
No, he had actually gone past the rumble strips and was in the dirt because his car started to slide in that dirt, and then he came back up and crossed back over the freeway to the outside, and that's when it caught and started to roll, and it just was flipping. Like, it was in the air, 10, 15 feet off the ground, just spinning. It was wild.
So scary.
But as a dad, because you were, what, 17, 18 at the time, something like that?
Probably 17, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember thinking, because we didn't know it was just one guy in the car.
Right.
I remember thinking this could be a family, and what I'm about to go find could just be gruesome, And so I didn't know what to do as far as, do I leave you in the car? And I did tell you to stay there and call 911 and don't come over here yet because I didn't know what we were going to find.
Right. And I must have seen maybe the guy got out of the car and started walking over to where you were before I got out of the car. Maybe I wasn't over there yet. So maybe that's why I got out and went over. Because, I mean, if you would have told me to just stay in the car, I would have stayed. But so maybe I saw, like, okay, he's out. It's not this crazy. Like,
yeah, it seemed like
horrible.
I didn't have to tell you. Maybe I waved you over or something, but we, anyways, that was a kind of a freaky time because that guy he was okay, but he had a pretty good concussion, and his ear was
giant.
Hurt pretty bad, kind of hanging a little bit funny, and then he broke his
Yeah.
arm,
Well, it
right?
was so swollen and all purple,
Yeah,
and the glass had cut him. Like he had all these little
yeah,
tiny cuts all over, and like a gash in his head.
yeah.
It's
Nothing life
crazy.
threatening, but it looked like it was probably going to be a fatality crash, and that's what I was worried
Yeah,
about. And
yeah.
yeah, yeah, wild story there. Okay, what would you say in your life has been your most valuable learning experience? Maybe a hard
Hmm.
lesson you've learned, or just a valuable lesson you've learned.
Um, I feel like we've kind of already talked about it, just all the business stuff and what I just had to figure out just by trying it. I don't know if I can think of a specific moment or anything where I remember like something clicking or having to. I mean, I've obviously had to learn some things in life the hard way, but I, yeah, I don't know. Nothing really stands out.
That's I mean, you have talked about it quite extensively in the episode here about just lessons you learned through the little ventures you had as a kid. So,
Hmm.
um, in your life, can you think of maybe what is the best advice you've ever received?
Oh, that's even harder.
I'll give you
Hmm.
an example why you think, right? Because it was for me, one of the best pieces of advice I ever received that always stands out to me was my dad. When I was 16, I got my driver's license, and 2 days later I was driving my sister's car and I wrecked it. I rear-ended a guy in the back. Anyways, I was out on the freeway and car cut him off, and he hit his brakes and I hit him, and it was it was a bummer because I totaled my sister's car, and it was this kind of thing. But I remember the police officer did not fault me for the accident. He faulted the car that cut over and did an illegal lane change. And so in my 16-year-old kid head, I'm thinking I'm scot free. It wasn't my
Hmm.
fault, right? So I'm kind of walking away from this thinking I got nothing to learn from this because it's not my fault. But my dad said to me, and he kind of said it in passing, and it stung when he said it, but he said it's always your fault.
Hmm.
And I took that, I think at first I took it wrong because I took that like he was blaming me for everything that ever bad had ever happened in the world. It's always your fault. That's not what he was saying. He was saying, and later after I had some time to sit and cool off, he was saying there's always something you could have done to prevent that, right? And as I got thinking about it, it was true. In this situation, I was a little tired. I was driving, and I was kind of getting just almost a little drowsy. So my reaction time probably wasn't right. I probably should have pulled over and taken a nap, but I didn't.
Hmm.
I also was following the guy a little too close because I was 16 and been driving for 2 whole days, and you know,
Hmm.
and so in hindsight, I was just too close to the car in front of me. So when something bad did happen, I didn't have time to stop. So I started being able to list all these things that, yeah, I could have probably prevented it by just backing off a little, by maybe pulling over and taking a nap, by not thinking I should drive 10 miles an hour over the speed limit. And there were several things there that, in hindsight, after I got a chance to cool off and think about it, I'm like, God, it was good advice. It was really good advice, and I've taken that in my whole life, and been able to run with it and go, that moment, that thing he said was probably the most valuable thing that someone's ever said to me is there's always something you could have done. It's always your fault.
There's not. I guess when people give me advice, I don't always like sit and think, oh, they're giving me advice. It's just like little things people will tell me. So it's not like anyone's ever sat down and been like, okay, I have all this advice for you. So I guess I don't think of it that way.
Libby, what's something that's on your bucket list, something in the you want to do in your life that before you kick the bucket?
Um, well, get married and have a bunch of kids. That's probably the biggest one. I think it'd be cool to win Weezer one year or win a division in Weezer. That would be pretty cool.
That's a
Um,
that's a that's a challenge, right? The best in the world show up there.
it's crazy. Be really hard, but be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do you
yeah.
have a favorite book of all time?
No, I don't read. So, I mean, if I read, the only thing I ever read is the Bible. So,
So the Bible.
yep.
Okay. What's next for you? Where are you going from here?
Um, like, what do you mean? What's
What's the next challenge? What's the next thing you're gonna do?
more contest planning? Um, hopefully keep that going for a long time. Um, yeah, that's basically like my only real big goal right now. It's just, yeah, making it a good contest every year.
I keep meaning to ask you, because you expanded that contest, right? The first year you did 1 day, to this year it was 2
Oh,
days.
yeah.
Are you planning on expanding that any further?
Probably a little bit because I didn't do 2 full days. We didn't start till 4 o'clock the first day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll probably start a little earlier the first day this time. I have some ideas too of maybe some extra divisions I want to add. So I'd have to add some more time for that, but
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. I haven't quite thought that far. It's been 3 weeks since the
3 whole
contest,
weeks
so
since the contest.
I haven't really started planning for next year yet, but have ideas.
Great. I'm excited for you. I think that's a cool thing. So where on the social medias can you be found?
Um, Western Idaho Fiddle Contest. That's Instagram and Facebook. That's just all of my contest stuff. So,
Yeah. Do
yeah.
you have a personal Instagram?
Yes, I do. It's Libby. I think it's Libby.Ellen. I think. But I had to spell Ellen, Ellyn, because everything else was taken. I couldn't get any combination of the way I actually spell my name. So,
you, you had to spell your name wrong, huh?
yep, I
Oh
did.
my gosh, I love it. All right. Well, hey, thanks for coming on episode number 50. It's been
Yes,
super cool. It was
that was
fun.
fun.
I thought something special needs to happen here, and I've wanted to talk to you about this stuff for a while, and it's so fun watching you grow up and just become an adult and start doing your own things, and it's fun because there's things that you do way better than I do. And I sit and I look at all the years of business I've had, and I can organize things fairly well, and that's kind of a gift of mine. But at the same time, the things you do to really organize something as chaotic as a fiddle competition, it blows my mind, because I'm like, gosh, man, I never thought about that. I should steal that from my business. And so, you've taken that, I think, to another level past where even I can, and so I'm impressed by it, and I love you, and thanks for coming on and hanging with me.
Yes, that was fun.
All right. Go on yourself, Libby.
Okay.
Hey, you've just finished up this episode, and I want to know, are you or someone you know a getting after it, go on your salt type of person? If so, message me directly on Instagram at the Go Earn Your Salt podcast, and perhaps we can have you on the show. Also, if you like this content, leave us a review, subscribe, and share with your friends. And perhaps this podcast can help you and them go earn your salt.